Hey everyone, Maze here. Welcome to episode 5 of Waking the Sleeping Demon, my DePaul dynasty. Blue Demons finished their first season under a new coach in a rebuild. New coach Kenny Payne led the Blue Demons to an 11-18 record, 6-14 in the Big East. We now find ourselves in the 7-10 game in the Big East tournament. I gave a quick preview last time of the Big East tournament, but this episode is going to run through the Power 5 conference tournaments, the Big East tournament, get us up to Selection Sunday. And then on Friday, we're going to have a special live episode where we go through the final conference tournament games, as well as getting a look at Selection Sunday when the brackets are revealed. Now, as many of you know, this dynasty includes real players and real recruits. Many of the teams in the top 25, their rosters have been edited to match what their rosters will look like next year, including many of the top freshmen in the country. So through this episode, what we're going to do is take you through a look at these conference tournaments as a way to highlight some of these teams that include real players. And as we do that, we're also going to look forward to the NCAA tournament, get an idea of who some of the favorites are to cut down the nets this year. So let's get started with DePaul's game taking on Marquette. DePaul 11-18, Marquette 14-15. A quick look at the game preview. Looks like Kerkweth will be back in this one, likely to come off the bench. And what we're going to do a little different from how we usually sim these games, because it's a conference tournament, I want to highlight the 2D sim option that's available in Draft Day Sports College Basketball 2021. So what we'll do is we'll sim the game as we can watch it, looking at the first 4 minutes and the last 4 minutes of the game against Marquette. Again, another great feature of this game that not everyone utilizes, but is something I really enjoy. As much as I like going through seasons and building out these storylines, especially around a rebuilding program, so much fun to still watch the game. So that's what we're going to do with that one. And then we'll start simulating some games and looking elsewhere around college basketball. Let's get it going. Marquette considered the home team in this one. Games taking place at Madison Square Garden for the Big East tournament. You see the starters in this one. Backcourt staying the same with Jalen Terry and Javon Freeman-Liberty. The front court, Romeo Weems and David Jones. And in at center, Nick Ongenda, averaging 6 and 6 a game. For Marquette, they're led by their backcourt. Junior Greg Elliott leads the way, 12 points and 5 assists per game. He's flanked by true freshman Stevie Mitchell, who's having a very nice first season on campus. Justin Lewis, also a very nice year. The Clemson transfer, Olivier Maxence Prosper. He mixes in and out of the lineup. He'll be starting in this one. And the starting center, Isaac Marley, in for Kerkweth. As you can see, love the courts in this game. This is the Big East tournament floor, as you'll see games on Fox. Let's go to tip-off and watch the first few minutes of this one, and then we'll catch you at halftime. Marquette wins opening tip, able to get the ball around here. Stevie Mitchell misses a 17-footer. Justin Lewis on the rebound. Offensive possession continues for the Golden Eagles. Good passing here, just kind of trying to find the right play. Looks like they're looking for maybe something on the weak side to Isaac Marley, the big man, and Stevie Mitchell with a made basket right there. Marquette takes a lead after a long first possession, almost a minute into the game now. DePaul now their first possession of the game. And Javon Freeman-Liberty with the answer. Make it 2-2. Couple dead ball calls, ball back to DePaul. Romeo Weems, a three-point play, takes a three-point lead. Ongenda with the rebound, gets it back quickly, back over half court. Jalen Terry, a quick bucket and the foul. Misses his free throw, but DePaul now with a 4-point lead. Closing in on 4 minutes out of the game. Isaac Marley off a make, and DePaul back the other way. Freeman-Liberty missing a long two. Not exactly what you want to see, but we're able to get the rebound there. Marley with the rebound and back the other way from Marquette. You see Danielson off the bench at the top of the key. He's important to what they do offensively when he comes in. So DePaul, off those 2 free throw makes by Jalen Terry, we take an 11-8 lead, 15:40 left in the game. We'll pick this one up at halftime to see where we're at, and then we'll watch the last 4 minutes to see how this one finishes. And we saw something we haven't seen very often this season, a 50-point half for DePaul, taking a 54-35 lead into the locker room. An awesome first half offensively. Just seemed like everything was working, even for some of the bench players. Ahmad Bynum, a perfect 4 for 4 from the field, 9 points in this one. That's great to see. Sean Robinson, while he only has 2 points, helping to facilitate the big man off the bench, helped to run that second unit. And guys like Grant Foster and Bynum really took advantage. Freeman Liberty leading the way with 10 points, but overall a very solid performance by DePaul. I'm very proud of the defense in this one as well. DePaul forces 10 turnovers in the first half, only 9 fouls, so no players currently really looking at any sort of foul trouble. And DePaul also only 1 turnover. Huge first half is about as good as we've seen this team play all year. Lead was as large as 24 at one point, but really just took advantage. You see fast break 8-0, points in the paint, 22 in the first half is awesome. There are some games we don't even put 20 on the board. Great to see. Hoping we can take advantage, keep this momentum going. We'll see if Marquette's able to make any changes. There may not be much to watch in the last 4 minutes of this one, but we'll key into the last 4 minutes, see if there's anything. Looks like DePaul may be walking out of this first round with a win. And with 2 minutes remaining, DePaul now pulling away 28 points. The lead looks like DePaul has an opportunity for 100 points, something we haven't done all season. And there it is, 100 on the board for the Blue Demons against Marquette. There were some moments in the second half where this game did get within about 10 points, but that was the closest that this one would get. As soon as the bench came in, bench played really well, something that has not been a strength for DePaul this season, really stepped up for us in a big way. It was so great to see. 102-73 your final, 54 points in the first half, 48 in the second. The offense so efficient and on fire. Not a lights out performance. Starters shot 3 of 9 from 3, but the bench was fantastic. 14 points from Tion Grant Foster, adding 7 rebounds. Sean Robinson was great in this one, did a little bit of everything. 5 points, 4 rebounds, 4 assists, and 2 steals. Great to see the true freshman Ahmad Bynum with 15 points in this one. Really excited about what he can do next year with 6 of 7 in this one. And Kavassier McCauley in 9 minutes added 12 points. So important to get his offense off the bench. Overall, kind of a disappointing, sloppy performance from Marquette. I think the story of this one, the 16 turnovers, took care of the ball a little better in the second half, but just could not find ways to put together good stops to lead to points on the other end. Overall, just kind of an uneven performance from Marquette. Didn't get much out of the starters either. A good performance from Justin Lewis, 15 points and 3 rebounds, but otherwise across the board, disappointing in an early exit for the Golden Eagles. DePaul now moving on. They will take on the number 2 seed Villanova in the next game. Now on Friday, March 10th, you can see the quarterfinal matchups in the Big East tournament. Number 1 seed Butler will be taking on Providence, coming off a 15-point win over Creighton. We will take on Villanova at MSG, number 20 team in the country, a 21 season for the Wildcats. Georgetown will be taking on Xavier. Xavier, a solid 21-point win over Seton Hall, enough to get them now to a matchup with the Hoyas. In the 4-5 game, we already knew about this one, but a big one, very important for both teams. UConn thinking about their seeding in the NCAA tournament. St. John's thinking about their spot on the bubble. Right now, it looks like they're on the outside looking in, but a win over UConn might put them on the right side of the bubble conversation. So some big games here. We'll sim through this, and then we'll start to look elsewhere in the country as we get into semifinals and finals in conference tournaments. Starting at the bottom of the quarterfinals of the Big East here, a big win for St. John's, 75-66. They got a 20-point performance from Steph Smith. Huge game for him. That's big to see the transfer from Vermont step up when they needed him most. Also holding UConn under 70 points, good performance for the Red Storm. Basically a home game for them at MSG. Massive game for Georgetown, 96-69, big win over Xavier. They had taken care of Xavier in the regular season. Continues to just be a tough matchup for the Musketeers. And that means the Musketeers now probably outside of the conversation for the NIT, but maybe they can sneak in, or they're looking at maybe a CBI-CIT bid for this year. And Butler, the 1 seed, moving on in the quarterfinals to the semis now, a 9-point win over Providence and a solid performance from Chuck Harris with 23. And now we'll sim the Wildcats game, see if we can get lucky and upset the Wildcats in MSG. Another tough loss to Villanova here, this time a 79-61 loss. Looks like a good game from Colin Gillespie, and Villanova moves on. A quick look at the box score here. Looks like Jermaine Samuels found himself in foul trouble. Only was able to play 7 minutes in this game, so it meant bigger minutes off the bench for players like Caleb Daniels, Nana Njoku, and Justin Moore. Longino and Gillespie combined for 23 points, and what was just an overall solid performance from Villanova. Very efficiently, just kind of beat us up. They went 24 from 30 at the free throw line, made 38% of their three-pointers, and almost 50% from the field. Just all-around great performance from Villanova offensively. And defensively, really just shut us down. Jalen Terry put up 12. The only player in double digits for us in this one. But we were held to 26 points in the first half, put up a better fight in the second half, but just couldn't get over the hump. Villanova led by as much as 22 in this game, and we just didn't have any answers. This is a situation much like it was this year against Villanova, where the talent continued to win out for them on the floor. Even when they would have nights where, relying on somebody like Samuels or someone in the starting rotation doesn't quite put up a good performance, they get enough out of the bench where they're able to just run away. Villanova moving on to the semifinals, and that is it for DePaul's season. This is likely their last game of the season, in a tough end to the season with an 18-point loss in the Big East quarterfinals. But good to see us get a win in the Big East tournament. That is something that does not happen every year. This win would be our 5th program win in the Big East tournament in 14 seasons. So not something where we found a lot of success. So good to see that we were able to get at least one win, go 1-1 in the conference tournament. Some good momentum for Kenny Payne going into a big offseason. Now looking at the semifinal matchups, Butler will be taking on St. John's. An important game for the Red Storm as they try to improve their resume and sneak into the tournament. It would mean likely that the Big East would be a 5-bid conference. That would be wonderful for the Big East if St. John's is able to do it, but they'll have to beat Butler, and that has been a tough matchup for them all year. The other semifinal, a top 25 game of Villanova and Georgetown. That should be a great one. And now let's look elsewhere in the country to the other Power 5 conference tournaments and see what teams remain in the conference semifinals. Some surprises in the ACC tournament at the bottom of the bracket. 7-seed Virginia Tech will be taking on 6-seed Miami. Virginia Tech with a big win over Florida State. Florida State had a great run throughout the ACC season, likely enough to secure a bid into the NCAA tournament after a rough start in non-conference play. Miami, a big win over Virginia, 74-56. Looking at the top, Duke, a 76-67 win over Syracuse means a matchup of the game coming to us in the semifinals. North Carolina taking on Duke. Let's first look at this quarterfinal matchup of Duke-Syracuse to see how the Blue Devils got there. In the story in this one, it was all Trevor Keels. Trevor Keels, 34 points in this one, a fantastic performance for him. Really nice performance off the bench in 23 minutes for AJ Griffin. The freshman, he'll be returning to school. Keels and Paulo Banchero will be going to the NBA draft. Griffin next year, he will have Mark Williams, the big man, who will also be returning. Very important for Duke next year to have some returning pieces. But the Blue Devils able to beat the Storm, and really the story was getting 2 great performances out of freshman Keels and Griffin. And as for North Carolina, they got here with an 81-67 win. Doing so over the Louisville Cardinals. The Cardinals in the top 25. They'll be making the tournament, led by David Johnson, who's now going to the NBA. As for UNC, let's look here. It looks like Armando Bacot had a really nice game, a 20-point outing for him. 2 freshmen that will be leaving UNC for the NBA in the offseason are DeMarco Dunn, who's averaging 19 a game, and Dontrez Styles, who's putting up 13 and 6 rebounds, both having really nice seasons in helping a North Carolina team that I think many weren't sure what this roster was going to look like. No more Roy Williams prowling the sidelines. What is this team going to look like? But they're able to put together a really nice season on the backs of, some good returning play from guys like Armando Bacot, but also getting Styles and Dunn to really step up in their freshman campaigns and have great years. And the Oklahoma transfer, Brady Manick, adding 9 points and 6 rebounds. Spot starter for them, but someone who really comes in and provides a nice spark off the bench. He had 5 points in the game against Louisville, now leading them to a rematch of Duke in the semifinals of the ACC. Interested, too, to quickly look at the Virginia Tech and Florida State game, 2 teams that do have real players on both rosters. The story for Virginia Tech, now that they have Kiva Luma back, that is very big for them. As you can see, he hasn't played much at all this season, only 10 points and 4 rebounds. His minutes have been limited, and his minutes in this game were limited because of foul trouble, but still enough to beat Florida State. Really nice performance from Max Cleveland, who played, looks like, almost the entire game. The freshman will be coming back next season after a bit of a disappointing year, but really stepped it up late in the season. 16 points, 3 assists, and 4 rebounds a game. Max Cleveland's been great. A really nice performance from the transfer point guard, Storm Murphy. Storm Murphy has been giving him 13 a game. He gave them 22 in this one. Also, a really nice performance from Naheem Aline, getting 10 rebounds. And Justin Mutz, the senior, with 5 points and 4 rebounds a game, getting about his average in this one. Good performance for Virginia Tech to get a win, a 14-point win over the Seminoles. On to the Big Ten. We have the finals matchup in this one. No surprises here. Maryland beat Michigan by 24, a massive win over the Wolverines in the semifinals, and Ohio State dropping a game to the Hoosiers 85-72. So now we have a finals matchup of Maryland, Indiana in the Big Ten Conference Finals. You can see Maryland, their great season just continues. Getting back Ayala and Wiggins has been so big for them. They've got some really good play from some of their incoming freshmen. Just having overall a really nice season. Let's see what they were able to do against Michigan. Dante Scott, who's having a really nice year, 14 points, 8 rebounds a game. He went for 16 and 9 in this one. The freshman Julian Reese, 10 points, 4 rebounds, and 4 assists. But the backcourt in this one combined for 38 points, including 23 from Norton finalist Aaron Wiggins. Aaron Wiggins having a fantastic season, just helping Maryland as he does in every way that he can, averaging almost 18 points a game, 4 assists and 6 rebounds, a block and a steal each, having a fantastic season. It looks like they really just beat Michigan up in this one. Michigan with 20 turnovers, Maryland also getting to the free throw line 39 times. That is a recipe that spells a loss for the Wolverines. But the Wolverines relying on a very young core of players right now. Sophomore Hunter Dickinson, the big man, 8 points and 8 rebounds in this one. Not a great game for him. He also now starting to step out and shoot a little bit more. He went 0 for in this one, but 10 and 6 on the season. He started to share minutes a bit with the 2 big men, freshman Musa Diabite, who's averaging 7 and 4 a game, and Caleb Houston. Caleb Houston, more of a stretch combo forward. He's having a really nice year coming off the bench for them. But Michigan has relied a little bit more on the players who have returned, Brandon Johns and Eli Brooks. Eli Brooks was good in this one. And the Coastal Carolina transfer, Devontae Jones, giving Michigan an experienced point guard like they've had the last few years, bringing in a transfer player to lead the backcourt. But in this game, it was Zeb Jackson, the only other point guard on the roster, giving them 17, a big win for Maryland. But this is a Michigan team that, maybe next year with all of these players coming back, there's an opportunity for something special. Dickinson will be back along with Houston Diabite. They will be losing Brooks and Jones, but another good freshman class coming in for Michigan, maybe an opportunity to right the ship in the future, but just losing to the no doubt best team in the country as Maryland storms their way to the conference finals, looking to secure both the regular season and conference tournament championships in the same year. And to do so, they'll have to play Indiana. Indiana, the 14-ranked Hoosiers, an 85-72 win over Ohio State. Ohio State got really good performances from Dwayne Washington Jr. and E.J. Liddell. They both gave them 30-plus minutes and were good in this one. But Indiana just better and got a fantastic performance. I think one that they'll remember for a long time out of freshman Tamar Bates. Bates recently announced he will be going to the NBA after averaging 17, 5, and 5. Ohio State, number 3 overall, they're thinking about a 1 seed right now. So that's a tough loss, but getting to the semifinal, especially with how quality the Big Ten was this year, that may be enough to keep them in that conversation for a number 1 seed. And they'll have some upperclassmen that will give them an opportunity to make a deep run, not just Liddell and Washington, but also Indiana transfer Joey Brunk. The big man's been only giving them 4 and 4, but in this game, getting 6 and 8 and starting to play more minutes for Ohio State now that he's a little more comfortable in the rotation. Good game for the Hoosiers where they were able to get the ball inside and beat up on the Buckeyes, taking advantage of that size advantage that it seems they have and taking advantage of players like Tamar Bates who were able to get to the paint at will. having a fantastic game overall, and now setting up a finals game, surprisingly, of Indiana, Maryland in the Big Ten Finals. Moving on to the Big 12 Conference Tournament, and it looks like we've got Bedlam in the semis. Oklahoma State, after the Cowboys were able to beat number 1 seed Kansas 68-62 in the quarterfinals. And in the bottom half of the bracket, Texas 75-62 win over Iowa State puts them in the semis against Huggy Bear and Press Virginia, who got a 61-58 win over Texas Tech. Let's quickly look at how Oklahoma was able to beat Kansas State. There are a few real players in this game. Just want to highlight quickly. The first we have to highlight is senior Elijah Harkless. Elijah Harkless averaging 20 points and 3 rebounds a game. Having him return to school was very big for the Sooners, as was getting transfer Tanner Groves. Tanner Groves, the big man from Eastern Washington, comes over with new head coach Porter Mosier from Loyola, Illinois, and the Sooners having a special season. Looks like Oklahoma will be fighting for maybe a 2 or 3 seed in the NCAA tournament, having a great year, but they've got to win that Bedlam matchup if they want to do it. Texas, they got good news recently when Dylan Disu, the transfer, will be coming back to school next year. Courtney Ramey, Christian Bishop, he'll be joining a nice core of young players who give Chris Beard an opportunity to build something really special. He'll be building off a great first year for the Longhorns, opportunity to be even better in the future. Looks like we could be looking at an Oklahoma-Texas Red River rivalry in the finals. If that's the matchup, it could be the winner getting a 2 seed in the NCAA tournament on the line. And the SEC, LSU, a big win over Florida in the semifinals. The 4 seed Tigers won 90-83 over the Gators, getting them to the conference finals, where they'll be taking on Kentucky. Kentucky, an up and down SEC regular season. They were the 6 seed coming in, but beat Tennessee and then took care of business against Vanderbilt 76-72, enough to get them to the finals. The win over Vanderbilt for the Wildcats, a nice performance, shutting down Scottie Pippen Jr. He'll be going pro next year after averaging 18 points a game for the Commodores. He's been great, as have the Commodores all year, surprisingly so in the SEC. Kentucky's young core helped out this year by a pair of Power 5 transfers. Guard CJ Frederick from Iowa, who dropped 35 on Vanderbilt, and Oscar Shibwe from West Virginia, who added 9 rebounds in this game. They've been able to help out a young core of players, including Ty Washington, the true freshman who will be coming back next year, as well as Bryce Hopkins, the combo forward who has decided he will be going pro after, an average first year on campus, but enough to show he's ready for the next level. Looks like Kentucky is back, and they have an opportunity to make a big statement in the SEC championship game if they're able to hang on and beat the LSU Tigers. A pair of games last night in the Big East decided by 10 points. The first, St. John's with a big win, 86-76 over Butler. The 1 seed falls to St. John. The Red Storm having a great year, getting really good performance at the end of the year from Posh Alexander, another 20-point night from him. In Georgetown, falling by 10, 84-74 to the Wildcats. Villanova back to the Big East tournament finals. Even with Georgetown getting 28 from true freshman Aminu Muhammad, it was not enough in this one. So now that means a finals matchup of St. John's and Villanova. That's where we will pick you up next time on episode 6. It'll be Selection Sunday. We'll take you through the conference finals games, look at how this Villanova-St. John's matchup goes, and then a special look at Selection Sunday. I think you'll enjoy it. I hope you enjoyed this one. Make sure to like, comment, and subscribe. Hit the bell so you're the first to see new videos. Again, hope you enjoyed this one. Thanks, and we'll see you next time.